you might have studied about hormones in PUC or school biology subjects. Okay, so here studying about the hormones as the primary messenger is more important as a clinicians. So you should understand the importance of hormones and their action in our body. So today I'm going to highlight about the hormones, especially as the primary messengers. How these hormones works as a messengers in our body. So I hope you know all about messengers, right? These are the messengers which we are using, still using, and some we have used earlier. Okay, these are the messengers which we use to communicate between among us. So wherever you are, if you want to communicate with others, use messengers. So in the same way, in our body, there should be cell-to-cell communication system. So we are the multicellular organisms, right? So all multicellular organisms should function with coordination. So in previous classes, you might have listened lectures about the cell and its functions and also cell membrane structure and various homeostasis mechanisms and all, right? So today we are especially speaking about the hormones. So these are the messengers in our body. Sorry. Yeah. So hormones are the primary messengers in our body. So any chemical substance or the external factor, extracellular factor, which brings change in the cellular level are called as the primary messengers. So these are broadly defined as any extracellular factor that elicits a response within a cell. So those are called primary messengers. These are the first messengers which gives the signals to the cells to get a required change within the cellular environment. So these are hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. So I hope you all know that endocrine glands are the ductless glands. So whatever the hormones produced by these endocrine glands will be secreted into the bloodstream. So from there, it will be traveled throughout the body to reach the target cells to get the required change in the cellular processes. So definition of hormones are chemical messengers secreted into blood by endocrine or ductless glands. Okay, so these hormones will require to cell communication. So suppose if you want some kind of metabolism should be started or stopped inside the cell, you need some signal. Until and unless you get the signal from something, maybe chemical or neural, various mechanisms will influence the cellular functions. So here hormones are the chemical messengers. So hormones will be secreted through endocrine glands and those will travel through the bloodstream and it will reach the various cells. So whatever the cells having the receptors for these particular hormones will show the effect. Otherwise, it will not react to that hormone. So the term hormone was introduced by Starling in 1905 and it comes from Greek word hormosin, meaning excite or arouse. So these are the chemical messengers will excite the cells to do some function, some specific functions. So hormones are substances synthesized in the body in small quantities. So these hormones are synthesized in very minute quantities, like maybe 1 in 100 millions of the other chemical messengers which are there in our body. So these will bring a drastic change at cellular levels. So Hormones are substances synthesized in the body in small quantities but have a profound biochemical effect in the control and regulation of metabolic events and contribute in some cases to intracellular and intercellular communication. So, intracellular and intercellular terminologies. Intracellular means within the cell communication, maybe communication between the processes which are going in the nucleus and the cytoplasm of the cell, or it may be between intercellular. So some hormones will be produced somewhere in the body. Suppose thyroid hormones produced from the thyroid gland, and they all travel throughout the body through bloodstream, and it makes the change in different cellular levels. So the major hormone secreting glands are pituitary glands, which are situated. I hope you can see this figure, right? So pituitary and thyroid, parathyroid. So thyroid gland is located here, and the parathyroid gland will be situated posterior to the thyroid gland, and adrenal glands are situated above the kidneys, and the pancreas, which is situated in the between the intestine, and ovaries in the females and the testes in the males. So these are the glands which produce hormones in our body. So hormones are very important to make changes in the structure or the cellular functions of the body. So the process of amphibian metamorphosis as seen in the tadpole to frog, from tadpole to frog, is driven by hormones. So these are the like functions of hormones which makes the structural changes of the any organism. Characteristics of hormones is that they are released usually by specialized secretory cells in the endocrine glands. So we have just seen the figure where different endocrine glands are there: pituitary, thyroid, pancreas, and adrenal glands, testes, ovaries. These are the various glands which produce these hormones to control the cellular metabolism or other structural changes within the cells. So these hormones produced by endocrine glands and are carried by the circulation. So this is the blood vessel where blood will be continuously flowing to all the cells of the body, all the tissues of the body. So these are the endocrine glands which produce hormones will travel through these blood vessels to all the cells. So the cells which are having the receptors for those hormones will react to that hormone and brings the cellular changes. So suppose one hormone is released from a particular thyroid gland or any endocrine gland, it will travel through the bloodstream, and for that hormone there is a receptor on the target cell, so it reacts to that hormone and brings about the required change within the cellular environment. So these are the basic functionality of the hormones or the characteristic of the hormone. So functions of the hormones. So hormones cover four major areas, namely reproduction. You have seen like there are endocrine glands in the testes and ovary, and growth and development. There are growth hormones and other hormones which control the growth and development of any organism or the individual, and maintenance of internal environment. It is like in the homeostasis, you might have seen some concepts like our body will maintain certain levels of any chemical or the proteins within our circulatory system. So to maintain the internal environment of the body or the internal environment of the cell, hormones are required. So these are also required for the energy production, utilization and storage. So whenever we need energy, suppose if you are doing some physical work, you need some energy to do that particular work. So who will tell our cells to produce energy? So these are the chemical messengers. Whenever you start some physical activity, our hormone production will be stimulated and the cells get the signal that they should produce some energy or they should utilize some energy. Is excess of something, some carbohydrate. Suppose if you have taken food, so that food will be metabolized. How it gets metabolized? It is by the chemical messengers. And also whatever the extra nutrition is there, that will be stored for the future requirements of our body. So these are all controlled by various factors. One of the major important factor is the hormones. So hormones control all these activities, all these major activities in our body. So how these hormones gives the signal to the cells? These hormones will gives the signal to the cells either by intracellular receptors or the cell membrane receptors. So you have seen the structure of cell. So cell structure, you have seen the plasma membrane. It is a lipid bilayer and it will not allow everything inside the cell. There will be some restriction of the movement of the substances or the chemical messengers. So some hormones act through intracellular receptors. So they can enter through the plasma membrane and binds to the receptors and elicit the required change. And some cannot enter inside the cell, so that they will act through cell membrane receptors. So there are two kinds of receptors. One is the internal and one is the external. Internal receptor are the specific receptors which will bind to specific hormone only. So all the receptor will not bind to all kinds of hormones. So again, internal receptors, there are nuclear and cytoplasmic. So cytoplasm will be having different kind of receptors for the different hormones, and the nucleus also having the different receptors for the different hormones. So there are external receptors. Most of the time those will be proteins which will be situated in the cell membrane. So hormone binds to the external receptor of the cell membrane and it initiates the cascade mechanism to bring the required change or the function of the intracellular environment. So if you come to the classification of hormones, so hormones are classified in three different ways based on their chemical composition and the location of receptor and solubility properties. You know, chemical composition. So what it is made up of? Either it is made up of protein or it is made up of some lipid or whatever the composition, chemistry of that particular hormone or the chemical structure of that particular hormone. So based on that, there is a classification. And location of receptors. So it is based on, suppose receptors of that particular hormone are situated inside the cell, which acts through intracellular receptors are of different class, which acts through extracellular receptors are of different class of hormones. So based on their chemical nature, they will act through either intracellular or the extracellular receptors. So, and again, solubility properties. Some hormones are soluble in water. Those are hydrophilic. And some are not soluble in water, hydrophobic or lipid soluble hormones. So based on the solubility properties also, it has been classified into different ways. So when you come to the first kind of classification on the basis of chemical composition. So hormones can be classified into three major groups based on their chemical composition. One is the steroid hormones. Like these hormones are fat soluble compounds like adrenal cortical hormone and sex hormones, androgens and estrogens. So these are soluble in fat. These are not soluble in water. And amines, these hormones are small, water-soluble compounds containing amino groups like epinephrine, thyroxine, and several derivatives. So in our body, there are various biomolecules. You all know that there are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and proteins are made up of building blocks called amino acids. So these amines also function, some of the amines function as a hormones like epinephrine, thyroxine, and all these. And there are peptide proteins, peptide or protein hormones. These are made up of amino acids. These are either large protein or the small protein based on the size of the peptide. So again, peptide is formed by the combination of by the building blocks of amino acids. So examples are insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormones, etc. So these are about the based on the chemical composition. Some are fat soluble, some are made up of amines or amino acids, some are peptide or polypeptide in nature. So these are the some of the steroid hormones. So and their gland. So steroid hormone glucocorticoids are produced from adrenal cortex, and mineralocorticoids also produced from the adrenal cortex, and testes will produce androgens, ovaries produce estrogens in females, ovaries also produce progestins. So these are the some of the steroid hormones produced by various glands. And the second classification is based on the basis of their mechanism of action. So I told you earlier that some hormones acts through extracellular receptors and some hormones acts through intracellular receptors. So hormones that bind to intracellular receptors, these include androgens, calcitriol, estrogens, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, progestins, retinoic acid, and thyroid hormones. Most of these hormones are lipophilic in nature. So these will pass through the plasma membrane, that is lipid bilayer, and enters inside the cytoplasm of a cell or the nucleus of the cell, and it binds to the intracellular receptors and initiates the cascade mechanism. And the second one is the hormones that bind to cell surface receptors. So these hormones cannot directly enter inside the cell. So they will act through the extracellular receptors or cell surface receptors. So these work through second messengers. So we are calling hormones as a primary messengers. So hormones act through second messengers. So those hormones cannot enter inside the cells, so that they will use the second messengers to initiate cascade signaling mechanisms inside the cell environment. So there are some second messengers called cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, DAG, and INSP3, inositol triphosphate. So these act through the cell surface receptors. So this is just comparison of hormones which act through intracellular receptors and bind to cell membrane receptors. RCS is the receptors. So hormones bind to intracellular receptors are lipophilic, are poorly soluble in water. So they can pass through the cell membrane and enter inside the cell to initiate some mechanisms. So these are hormones which act through cell surface receptors are the hydrophilic, or the water soluble hormones which cannot enter inside the cell, so that they act through cell surface receptor. And these hormones which can pass through the cell membrane need transport proteins to reach the target tissues. Suppose some steroid hormones produced by the endocrine glands, they cannot directly solubilize in the bloodstream, so that they will be carried by some peptides or the proteins to the target tissues. So they need some transporter. But these hormones which act through cell membrane receptors does not require any transport mechanism or any carrier to reach their target tissues. And these hormones which can enter inside the cell will be having long half-life, long plasma half-life we can call it as. But the hormones which can act through cell membrane receptors will be having very short half-life, sometimes minutes. These will be having days together. So these will not degrade immediately. So I hope you all know about half-life of any substance. And action of these hormones which act through the intracellular receptors mediated by forming hormone receptor complex. These hormones enter inside the cell and they will bind with the receptors and they form hormone receptor complex, and that complex again bind to DNA to initiate transcription and the required protein or enzyme, whatever cell needs. But the hormones which cannot enter inside the cell, which act through cell surface receptors, will be acting through the second messengers. And examples of these hormones, intracellular receptors, these include steroid, thyroid, calcitriol, and vitamin D. So these hormones can enter inside the cell through and then bind to intracellular receptors to elicit cellular changes. And examples of hormones which act through cell membrane receptors are catecholamines, peptides, epinephrine, norepinephrine. These are the catecholamines. So what is the second messenger? So we are considering a hormone as primary messenger. So this is the chemical messengers which brings some information to the cells. It is required for the cell-to-cell communication. So what is the second messenger? So first messengers like hormones which cannot enter inside the cell needs a kind of messengers called the second messengers. Is the signal produced as a result of hormone binding to its cell membrane receptors. So whenever this hormone which cannot enter inside the cell will bind to a receptor which is situated in the cell membrane of a cell. So this will initiate the cascade mechanism inside the cell once hormone binds to the receptor of the cell membrane. So it mediates the effect of hormone. So it acts like a mediator between the extracellular environment and the intracellular environment. Whenever hormone binds to this cell membrane receptor, this receptor will take the job of this primary messenger and it initiates the cascade mechanism. So the second messengers may be, there are more important second messengers like cyclic adenosine monophosphate, cyclic guanosine monophosphate, we call it as CGMP, calcium or phosphatidyl inositol, or in combination. So there is also one more second messenger mechanism like protein kinase cascade. So in this topic, we should also know the signal amplification. So hormones inside the body will be produced in very, very minute quantities. But these small quantities which will bring major change in the cellular environments. So this is called the signal amplification. So initial signal in the form of hormone which acts as a ligand. So you all know about this terminology, I hope. Ligand which can bind to receptor. So whose concentration is very, very less. So it will be just 1 per receptor. So the hormonal response has got multiple steps, and each step multiplies the signal, that finally leading to million-fold amplification. That is one hormone molecule mediating its effect through million of molecules. This process is known as signal amplification. So hormone concentration is very less, but the signal what it is going to give will induce the cascade signaling mechanisms inside the cellular environment will be very big. So millions of cell components will be released inside the cells to process some of the information. So this is called the signal amplification. So this diagram shows the mechanism of action of hormone which acts through intracellular receptors. So this is the cell, and this is the cell membrane, that is the phospholipid bilayer. So hormones which can act through intracellular receptors can directly enter inside the cell through this plasma membrane, and these will form hormone receptor complex within the intracellular receptors, and this will go and bind to hormone response element on the DNA. So then it reacts and it starts the transcription and synthesizes the protein which is required either for the metabolism or for the structural differentiation of cell, or any cellular function will be through the first messenger which enter inside the cell, and it says you have to do this function through the chemical signaling mechanism. So this is about the intracellular hormones which are acting through intracellular receptors. So then there is a kind of second kind of hormones which act through the extracellular receptors. So these hormones, for example, epinephrine, beta, epinephrine cannot enter directly inside the cell. So they act through beta adrenergic receptors. So epinephrine will bind to this receptor, and this will act through cyclic AMP, and it initiates the cell-specific response. So this is the mechanism of action of the hormones which act through the extracellular receptors. And these are all require some energy in the form of ATP. So there is another kind of classification based on the solubility. So based on their chemical nature, hormones will be solubilized either in water or the lipid. So based on their solubility properties, it has been divided into two groups. One is the lipid soluble hormones. The lipid soluble hormones include steroid and thyroid hormones. So these can be solubilized in lipids but not in water. And there are certain class of hormones which can solubilize in water, includes amines, peptide hormones, and the icosanoid hormones. So I just want to show some of the examples how these hormones signaling mechanism will be controlled inside the body. So when these hormones will be produced and when this mechanism will be shut down. So this is the example one, where when there is a decreased blood pressure, there is a signaling mechanism called renin-angiotensin system. So you are going to study in detail about all these things in upcoming classes. I hope you are going to come physically here. So then you are going to learn all these hormone signaling mechanisms and feedback mechanisms in future classes. So this is one example, like when this hormone production will be initiated and what action it will take and how it gets regulated. So whenever there is a decreased blood pressure, it initiates the mechanism called renin-angiotensin system. So this will lead to aldosterone production and ADH. So aldosterone increases the sodium reabsorption and water reabsorption so that it will increase the blood volume, so that it will maintain the homeostasis, and it will help to get the normal blood pressure inside the vasculature. So there is ADH hormone which mediates the reabsorption of water inside the kidneys, so that again it will maintain the blood volume and it will maintain the blood pressure as well. So there is second example where insulin and glucagon regulate blood glucose levels. So whenever there is increased blood glucose inside the body, this insulin will be produced. So whenever we take food, there will be increased blood glucose. Blood glucose levels. So pancreas releases insulin, and in response to insulin, target cells take up glucose and the liver converts glucose to glucagon. So there are different kind of mechanisms to maintain the blood glucose levels at particular levels. So this is the second example where hormones regulate the metabolism of carbohydrates or the lipids. So these are the parathyroid glands which are situated at the back of the thyroid gland. So these will especially released in response to low blood calcium levels. It increases blood calcium levels either by targeting skeletal tissues or the kidneys and the intestine. So at the intestine level, it will increase the absorption of calcium. At the kidneys level, it will increase the reabsorption of calcium. At the skeletal level, it forms the calcitriol and increases the calcium levels in the bloodstream. So there are other kind of hormones produced by the pituitary gland. Those will again act through various hormones like growth hormone, and all these will maintain the skeletal architecture of the body. And this is the thyroid system, so which will be again controlled by the hypothalamus. So where thyrotropin releasing hormone will gives the signal to the thyroid gland, and this thyroid gland will produce thyroid hormones, triiodothyronine and thyroxine. So these will increase the metabolism, and further it helps for the growth and development of an organism. So all these hormones will be produced whenever they require, but those should be cleared off from the environment, from the body. So there are different ways for the clearance of hormones. Hormones are cleared by metabolic destruction by tissues or the target cells. So after a certain half-life or whenever there is no need of that hormone cascade signaling mechanism, it will degrade the hormone, and so that it will stop that particular process. Or it may bind with the tissues, or it might be excreted through the liver into bile juice, or it can be excreted through the kidneys into urine. So water-soluble hormones are degraded by enzymes in the blood or tissues and are excreted by kidneys or liver. And they have very short half-life. And lipid-soluble hormones are protein-bound and are cleared slowly. So it takes days together to clear the steroid hormones, but water-soluble hormones will be cleared off within minutes. Thank you. So this is the like a brief introduction about the hormone as a primary messenger. I haven't took in detail explanation of synthesis of hormones or the detailed mechanism of hormone action or the structure of hormones. So I think you are going to study about the endocrine system and chemistry of hormones and the mechanism of action of hormones and applied aspects of the endocrine disorders in further classes. So I hope you understand some basic concepts. So here you can just remember like hormones classification based on the different aspects like their structure or the mechanism of action or their solubility, how these hormones will function inside the body. So what is the basic mechanism in the body. So these are the basic things you can understand, or you can understand some key aspects like signal transduction or cell-to-cell communication or the receptors, how many kinds of receptors will be there, and all these things, what are the functions of hormones. So